you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I'm here with Jen Haines, who has one of the coolest job titles you're ever going to hear. And I'll let her tell you that, but she is a very important person in the comic book industry, and she is part of ComicsPro. For those of you who don't know what ComicsPro is, again, she'll explain it, but it's a real important weekend for all of us in the biz. So I'm going to bring her on and not make her wait any longer. And she can explain to you what all of this is. So, Jen, let's start. How did you come to be in the comic book business?
Well, I came at it as I think all of us do, from being a fan. And I fell in love with comics. I came to it a little bit late, actually. I only came into comics in my late teens. Discovered the local comic shop in the town where I grew up and started reading comics. And then when I moved to Guelph, which is in Southern Ontario, where I live now, I found the comic shop there, but it just wasn't the place that I was used to. Like, my comic shop back home was really welcoming and totally helped me foster my interests. But this one was very much more of that clubhouse vibe and didn't really work for me. And so when I was coming up on finishing my undergrad degree at university, I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. And somebody suggested, well, why don't you open a comic shop? And what started as just this casual conversation turned into a whole career. So I ended up opening my first store right after university, just with this idea of really wanting a welcoming place where everyone would feel like they were a customer the moment they walked through the door. They were given that respect, they were given that attention, and no one was made to feel like they weren't part of the community. And so sort of just everything that was contrary to that clubhouse vibe. So that's the philosophy behind my stores. The Dragon, we have 3 stores now, all in Southern Ontario. And it's good. So
I kind of teed you up. There was just an announcement yesterday that you have one of the coolest job titles ever.
So as of yesterday, I am the president of ComicsPro, which is a retailer organization. So basically what ComicsPro does is we have comic retailers from around the world are members of ComicsPro, and we as an organization have come together with a common goal to improve the industry and to make it a stronger, more efficient industry for everyone. So what we do as an organization is we educate retailers on different ways they can improve their stores. We have discussions with retailers on how the industry can improve, and then we approach our partners in the industry, the various publishers and distributors, and we basically discuss our concerns and try to affect change in a way that is positive and beneficial for everyone.
So I keep referring to ComicsPro as a trade organization. Would that be a good kind of categorization?
Yes, yeah, we're organized. We don't, we're not that organized. Like, we're not so much a trade organization, but yeah. We
So, so for the average viewer, because most of our viewers are just fans. They're people who go into local comic shops every week and buy their books. Can you go into some detail as to some of the things ComicsPro does and has done over the time to help local comic shops?
Sure, yeah. So so a lot of what we do is not necessarily stuff we can make like a big splash about and say, we did this thing. But for example, retailers are struck with a number of challenges, and especially right now, we have a real challenge in terms of making sure that we can sustain our businesses during a global pandemic, that we still have customers coming to the store and buying their product. And so returnability is something that we have been pushing for years, and that's the ability to purchase comics from publishers on a risk-free basis and return the comics that we have not been able to sell. And that's amazing because it allows us to develop an understanding about where the ceiling is for interest in an issue. It allows us to take a bigger risk on something we might not have risked on before. So it's a benefit to the publishers as well, because they might not have sold as many copies if we didn't have the ability to mitigate that risk by returning copies we can't sell. So returnability is something that we've been discussing and fighting for a really long time. A couple of years ago, we released a document about how to improve the industry, and we sent it out to the publishers and the distributors. And one of the really key elements of that was returnability. And we're so happy to see so many publishers starting to embrace that, and it's been amazing this past year. I mean, Boom has been a forerunner in returnability for a really long time. They started it all off. Way back there was a Boom Innovators program, and that's become the Boom Guarantee. But we have other publishers getting on board now. Image did a lot of returnability. They're still continuing some of that. Vault has line-wide returnability. So all these publishers have been listening and understanding that we need certain things to make the industry stronger. And when we get stronger, they get stronger. This whole idea that rising tide lifts all boats, right? So we help each other in ways that allows the whole industry, that allows everybody in the industry, every retailer, every creator, every publisher, every distributor, to get better and stronger. And that's the goal, is just to make this industry healthier, to make it the thing that we all know it can be and we all want it to be.
So that's a really good example, is that when I first got into the industry, returnability was not a thing. And then as a member of ComicsPro, I got to watch it become a thing, and I got to watch I'm going to use the word lobbying, which is kind of what it was.
Informal lobbying.
Yeah, it was, hey, we really think this would be good. Hey, I didn't want to use the word relentless asking, but lobbying the industry to, kind of in a relentless way.
Yeah.
To say, hey, this is something that would really benefit a lot of us. And having it come from one central voice, I think, really helped. If it had just come from every retailer just kind of screaming into the void, I don't think it would have ever happened. But having ComicsPro to stand up and say, hey, this is what our members are saying, and here are our members. And it's one voice, the choir of the comic books industry, as it were.
Yeah, it's, everybody has their own store, their own style, their own way of doing things, but there are definite common threads that we all experience. And so ComicsPro is there to represent and sort of collate all the opinions and all the feelings that are out there, and figure out what we can actually affect change on, and what seems like something we want to pursue. And then we follow up with the publishers. We do an annual conference. And this weekend, well, right now, is actually our conference, only virtually this year. But that is an amazing opportunity for us to get one-on-one time with publishers and distributors. It's a very close-knit group. And so there's so much chance to discuss things one-on-one, face-to-face. And, you talked about the relentless pursuit of returnability. I relentlessly pursued kids' comics. There are several publishers who can tell you that there was a lot of in the hall conversations at ComicsPro, when are you going to fix this? And that meeting, it sparks so many incredible conversations, not only between retailers and publishers, but also between retailers, that all of these ideas and all this innovation comes out of it. And it just makes the industry just work better. I think also just like hanging out with each other and putting faces to names, and it makes us all, it humanizes the whole system a lot more. This is such a weird and wonderful industry. I always think it's so cool that, when you're a fan of something in any other sphere, like, so say you are a fan of like an actor, or you're a fan even of an author, your ability to get contact with them is so limited, right? Like, you, even at a book signing, you're shuttled through a line and then it's the next person. But with comic creators, and you can just walk up to them and be like, hey, how's it going? And have a conversation about the book that you love. Like, this industry is so personal. And everybody who opens a comic store does it because they love comics and because it's something personal to them and they have a story about their journey. And that makes it just like a really amazing industry. It also makes it a very volatile industry sometimes, because people get very passionate about what they believe is the right thing to do. And so it can cause some like tension, but at the end of the day, we all know that we're here for the same thing, that like super extreme love of comics, and somehow it just kind of works. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's a wild thing you say that everybody in this industry is so approachable, and it's true. I'll share two stories. One of them is that I got to interview John Romita Jr. and he's somebody who in my brain is like on the Mount Olympus of comic book creators. And now we email back and forth about blues music.
that's awesome.
Like, we don't even talk about comics anymore. It's just, hey, did you hear this record from this guy? And no, I'm going to run to the record store right now and buy it. Like, that kind of conversation. And the other one is there's a retailer with whom I had a disagreement. And we sat down at a ComicsPro over drinks and like figured out what the deal was. And like, we're good friends now. We don't necessarily like hang out, but we there's no heat anymore, which is amazing. And that's what's great about these events like ComicsPro, the event where I might only get to see Jen King once a year at ComicsPro, or I might only get to see so-and-so once a year at ComicsPro. And you can go up and give them a hug and say, hey, how's it going? That kind of thing. And so how does it feel to be a part of an organization that's kind of responsible for bringing so many people together over this shared fandom?
It's amazing. I love this. Like, so yesterday I told an anecdote about how I was traveling to the Baltimore Retailer Summit that Diamond had put on a few years ago, and crossing the border, the border guard asked, why are you going to the States? And I said, well, I'm going to go to this retailer summit. It's all these retailers gathering together, and I'm also doing a presentation. And he's like, well, what do you, he sort of started asking all these questions, and eventually it came around to, well, how much are you getting paid to do this? And I was like, well, I'm not getting paid. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. You must be getting paid. And then he started really like hammering on this idea that I must be getting paid. So why would I be doing this if I wasn't getting paid? And I told him, quite frankly, I am just committed to making the industry stronger and better and helping other retailers. Like, that's my passion. My passion is to help retailers. It's to help them with, learning how to hire the best people. It's learning how to lay out their stores. My passion is to help them grow their businesses and to give them little tips that will help them get there. And he completely did not believe me and ended up pulling me over to the interrogation place where I was asked more questions. But eventually they let us go. But it was wild. It was like he just couldn't believe this idea that I would just want to improve other retailers' businesses. And that's just, I love that. I love being able to collaborate, talk to other retailers, pick their brains, get ideas, get inspiration. Coming away from these meetings, I am like so inspired to do a million things. And a few people talked about that the last couple of days. Is last year was so hard because we all left that meeting going, oh my gosh, I'm going to do all these things. And then the pandemic hit and we couldn't do any of it. And we just kept kind of like waiting to see, like, will this convention run? Will that convention run? Will we have free comic book day? Will we have Halloween Comic Fest? What are our Christmas sales going to look like? Will we be able to meet for ComicsPro 2021? And this community is just so strong and so involved with one another and one another's lives. Like we're a bunch of us are all friends on Facebook, like outside of, the business side of it, where we have a Facebook group for ComicsPro members. We're friends outside of that. It's really amazing to be part of an organization that drives innovation, that drives inspiration. I walk away from this group feeling like so excited and refreshed whenever I see any ComicsPro members. It's just like, you also like, there's something about ComicsPro members. Like, I think we are so committed to this like idea of the whole industry improving, and it shows, right? Like, we've chosen to pay an annual fee to be part of this organization because we believe that our voices added together result in change. So there's like this faith in it, right? And there's this passion to want to do something. And I like, dare I say, like, ComicsPro retailers are a bit of a cut above. We have that desire and that drive to make things better. But I will say, ComicsPro is not just representing ComicsPro members. So my job is not to represent just the interests of the ComicsPro members. My job is to represent the interests of all comic stores, whether you're a member or not. So there are a lot of people for whom membership is just not an option financially. We still have you covered. Like, we're listening to everything going on out there, and we are pulling together all that information and presenting it to publishers. It's not just about ComicsPro member concerns. Because, I mean, ultimately, ComicsPro member concerns are the concerns of everybody in the industry. It's very universal concerns that we deal with. So it's, yeah, when we work for ComicsPro interests, we are working for everyone's interests.
It's super true. Like you said earlier with the returnability thing, like, there was a time when ComicsPro had options for, like self-employed people to, like, hey, this is an insurance company that might work with you, or hey, this is a dental company that might work with you. Like, things like that. When I first joined up, that was like, oh, I never thought about what a struggle that was going to be, but here's the people at ComicsPro have already done the work. And it's become more of big picture stuff, I think, since then. Which is great, because the big picture stuff is the stuff that we need to focus on now. Things are changing so fast that if we get too into the nuts and bolts, we're going to miss out on, things that need to happen. So I really appreciate that kind of vision from the board and from people of ComicsPro. So if you could tell the average comic book reader / fan why ComicsPro is important, and why your local retailer benefits from ComicsPro, what would you tell them?
I would say that I think the biggest benefit for retailers to be part of ComicsPro is the collaboration, is being part of this group of people who just wants to share their passion for making the industry better. And I will say that, our member forum is a place where we share this inspiration in this like really collegial, civilized manner that doesn't always happen in other parts of the internet. I mean, the internet can be a not great place sometimes, because it's taken away the humanity of knowing somebody face to face. ComicsPro, we are creating a shared experience of comics. And that doesn't mean making every store look exactly the same. It doesn't mean saying, okay, well, this is what a comic store should be, and now let's all be like that. It's not that. It's recognizing we are all individuals who all have our own businesses that work based on our geography and, a million other factors, frankly. But that we can provide our own experiences and insight, and something in that may resonate with another person that can pick up on a thread there and run with it in their own store and create something new and amazing for themselves. So like, that's really the biggest benefit of being part of ComicsPro, I would say, is that collaboration between retailers that is maybe not, intentional collaboration, but all of the conversations, all of the meetings, all of that leads to this like unified fabric, this like quilt of comic shops, as you will, where we're all, you know, banded together, but each section looks really different from other sections.
What's one thing you wish people knew about ComicsPro that they don't?
That we exist. I think, you know, so ComicsPro, I think we've been operating a little bit too much in the shadows in the last little while. And it's my job to really get out there and make sure that the name is out there and people know that ComicsPro is a big deal, that ComicsPro stores are stores that are passionate about the whole industry. I'm hoping that we can raise that profile a little bit more. Anyone who knows me knows that I network like crazy and I'm everywhere. And when I can be everywhere again, I will. And so I'm gonna, you know, use every opportunity I have to get that ComicsPro name out in front of people so that they know what this is and they know the name, and it just becomes like a normal part of the industry. It becomes another one of the entities in the industry.
So I'm gonna wrap up. I have one last question for you. It's I always like to ask people a question that there's no way they can possibly have been prepared for.
Okay.
And that question is: you have the ultimate nerd garage. You get one spaceship and one car from all of pop culture. What do you put in your garage?
Okay. One spaceship and one car?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to put the DeLorean in because my kid is currently obsessed with Back to the Future. So the DeLorean is definitely going in. And then I'm going to go with the Agamemnon from Babylon 5.
All right.
Yeah.
We get a lot of DeLoreans. We don't get very many Agamemnons.
I also have a master's in classics, so the fact that the ship is called the Agamemnon is just like extra icing on the cake. So,
and then the actual last question, and it's another one that you can't have possibly prepared for. Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, come on! I love Eevee. Eevee's adorable.
Absolutely,
go with that.
All right, so social media handles. Where can people find you? Where can people find ComicsPro? Where can they follow all the things they need to know?
All right, so ComicsPro.org is the current ComicsPro website that will be overhauled sometime in the next near future, I promise. And then we have a blog as well called ComicsProgress.com, also due for some updates as well. I am on Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is Jav Haines, J-A-V Haines, H-A-I-N-E-S. And on Facebook, I think I'm like Jen.Haines.3. Just look up Jen Haines, you'll find me. My maiden name is Stewart, so it's on there as well to identify me. And yeah, there you go. You can check out my store as well. It's called The Dragon in Southern Ontario.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jen. It's been great to talk to you. Stay tuned, guys. We've got We've got announcements. They're the videos that the publisher partners play at ComicsPro. 3 of the great publishers who presented have shared with us their videos so that we can share with them with you so that you know what's coming from them. So stick around for that in just about a minute.
You are watching Minute to Skim It on the Experience, so hello. All right, we've got lots of books to review for you guys today. And Hannah just basically showed up with just the number ones and showed them to me, and I was like, oh, we have
just for the indies.
Just for the indies, yeah. I was like, we have got a lot to do.
Today's comics market is ripe with new titles by creators who are determined to get their books into your hands. My name is Anri Company. For the last decade, I've been making and selling my own creator-owned comics and dealing as a collector in live sales. My signature series, Yisun Shin, is the book that cannot be defeated in battle and has over 250,000 copies in print. Now I'm taking comics to the next level and laying the groundwork for my fellow creators to get their voices heard so they can connect directly with you. This is your chance to engage live with top comic book talent and get your comics signed without having to wait in long lines or pay any fees. But remember, we only have a limited amount of their books in stock, so always remember to call it as you see it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Manny Castellanos, Director of Sales for Mackey Studios. It's a real pleasure to be given the opportunity right now to speak with you today. And it's times like this that make me really miss the personal moments that we used to share. But what that does is make me look forward to those moments even more in the future. So, while the circumstances aren't ideal, I'd love to talk to you with the time I've been given about all the new and exciting things we have planned coming from Mac Cave in 2021. Let's start with Nottingham, available next month. This is a dark and twisted take on the Robin Hood mythos, and it is written and illustrated by 2019 Talent Search winners David Hazan and Shane Volk. Together, they've created this medieval noir tale that's a great spin on the familiar story we're all familiar with, but with the twist that it's from the perspective of the Sheriff of Nottingham as he tries to uncover a series of murders committed by Robin Hood and his merry men. It's very much Robin Hood meets True Detective, and it's one of my personal favorites from Mac Cave. Following up that gloomy story is something a little bit more brighter with Dexter, a sci-fi epic unlike any other in the galaxy. Written by Joe Corallo, with art by up-and-comer Lorenzo Colangeli and covers by the famous Sweeney Boo, Dexter follows our titular hero who's always gambling, drinking, and getting thrown out of sophisticated places. Then one day, her past comes back to haunt her, and she's forced to reluctantly face it head on. And she goes on this adventure with her best friend Sally and the other group of colorful, diverse characters as they set off on an adventure that they never even asked for to begin with. Up next is another sci-fi series, but this one has a little bit of a darker edge to it. Edited by Steen Stewart, this is Bountiful Garden, written by Ivy Noah Ware and illustrated by Kelly Williams. This is an environmental sci-fi horror series, and it follows young astronauts who venture into a barren planet, or so they think. This is a book that's perfect for fans of Alien or The Thing, and it's a comic that you're definitely going to be reading with your lights on. And finally, making his triumphant return for his third and final volume is our flagship series, Battle Cats. Writer Mark London and artist Mikey Camello with colorist Aquino team up one more time to bring us this one final battle. Last we left our heroes, their king has just been murdered. Our main hero, Keltan, is at his lowest, and our team of Battle Cats are scattered across the land. And their land of Alderia is in complete chaos. Right now, all hope seems lost, and it might be too late to save our heroes. But what happens next is something you'll have to read to find out. All this and more will be made available from Mad Cave in 2021. Moving on, last year we created a retailer relief fund and invited any store to be a part of it. Stores were then able to do with the fund whatever they pleased, whether it was to put it into their store or into their own homes. It was the least we could do here at Mad Cave for the people that make this industry all possible. This year, we'll be focusing on supporting stores in a new way. We want to spotlight local shops that do a great job at promoting their store within their communities. We've already featured 3 of our stores down here in South Florida, being Corporate Comics, Gauntlet Comics, and Tate's. By highlighting each store, we hope to show our community why their local comic shop is the place for all things comics. Mad Cave is also offering cross-promotional gift card giveaways for any stores interested. For more information, please visit our booth on Huba. In addition to these initiatives, I'd like to share with you some of our marketing strategy for 2021. This year, we are partnering with a number of social influencers, ranging from famous cosplayers, popular booktubers, and famous reviewers even, and many more. Each have a unique brand that will be advocating for our new titles to their audiences. And we believe this, in addition to other elements of our paid media strategy, will convert to an abundance of new readers, and not just new readers, new Mad Cave readers to drive to your stores. Finally, I want to discuss a project I'm particularly excited to talk about, one that's been years in the making, and that's Mad Cave's all-new YA imprint, Maverick, launching in the fall of this year. With more and more young readers picking up comics, we're certain that they will find themselves within the pages of Maverick. Every OGN that comes out of Maverick will be shaped for like-minded readers who think a little differently. They're for those who believe in freedom, independence, and being unapologetic for who you really are. Each full-length OGN will provide a standalone story that will shine a light on the moments that really define the term coming of age. In regards to talent, we are extremely thankful to be working on each of these projects with an incredible and diverse group of creators. Maverick's launch title, Neon Thread, is written by David Pickney and illustrated by Anun Anna Yorov. Together, they bring their personal experiences and passion to a fun and heartwarming yarn about friendship and being who you're meant to be. Future Maverick titles will be released bi-monthly or every other month, with titles like World Class. Written by Mad Cave alum Jay Sandlin and art by the talented Patrick Mulholland, this is a manga-inspired story centered around a young Colombian soccer player whose anxieties manifest when he's given a scholarship to play in England. Following World Class, we have a Southern Gothic-inspired story in Nightmare in Savannah by veterans Leela Gwen and Rowan McCall. These two were able to craft a coming-of-age horror story that follows a group of outcast teens who are coming to grips with not only who they are, but what they really are. And the answer is quite more terrifying than you can imagine. Those are just a few titles coming from Maverick, but I can promise you there are plenty more in the works, and you can expect more information in the coming months. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to talking to you during the roundtable sessions and answering any questions you may have. Now please, enjoy a first look trailer at Maverick.
Action. Hi, I'm legendary comic book retailer Bagsley Bortson. I've pillaged every long box. I've traveled the world and slabbed every key issue that's ever crossed my path. You see, I made my millions the bad idea way. And if you follow these detailed instructions in this video seminar, you can too.
Welcome to the Modern Comic Book Store, the lifeblood of our industry and the bastion of popular culture worldwide.
Here I'll teach you how to sell bad idea comics and make $8.7 million.
The
But who are we selling to? If you want to get
bait like that,
you need to identify
the USDA 100% prime bad idea fans at your local comic shop.
You see, bad idea fans aren't your typical comic fans. These voracious readers, each one more jacked and sun-soaked than the last. They're your best and brightest, and each one is equal parts
Full box subscriber, Wednesday warrior, key issue collector, comic shop whale, non-stop reader, bad idea fan.
now, my fellow retail rock stars. Listen closely as I reveal to you my secret formula for success selling bad idea comics at your local store. You work hard. You do a good job. You're nice to your customers. Why then must you suffer the headache of bringing out multiple books?
Try something new.
I'm all set. Got my books for the week. Can you ring me up? See what we got here. No. 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 No.
No.
No, you don't want any of these. What?
How to sell a bad idea book.
You want this. It's the new comic from Bad Idea. They're super cool. They make only the best comics with the most boss creators. And you can only get them in comic shops, like this one.
Bad idea rule 4. Bad idea comics must be displayed in the highest traffic section of your store.
Wow, this looks amazing.
I think so too. Me! I do!
I do not know this man.
Now this looks great. I'll take 2. No.
Good try. Bad idea rule 1. Bad idea comics are limited to 1 per customer.
Why sell anything else when you can just sell 1 copy of Bad Idea Comics for exactly cover price? Even if it's going for more on eBay. No. But don't forget, Bad Idea Rule 2.
Bad idea comics must be sold for no more than cover price for 30 days from street date. Bad ideas books are only available in comic shops participating in the Bad Idea Destination Store program.
Right now, that's just
About 200
stores. But don't worry if you're watching this thinking, Bagsley, what do I do if I don't live near one of the stores? Easy. Find one you like at
whereisbadidea.com. Pre-order through the website or call the store directly.
Great choice. I hope she likes it, or you'll be stuck with issues 2 through 4.
What's that?
Bad idea rule 6. Your order on the first issue arc is your minimum order on each subsequent issue of that arc. Order carefully.
Action.
Okay, well, why don't you add the rest of the series to my pull box?
Sounds great!
Bad idea rule 3. Bad idea comics can be offered for pre-order but cannot be shipped to anyone before street date.
Action.
And me too! What other title does Bad Idea have coming out this year?
That's a fantastic question, young man. Mind if I smoke?
Of course I do.
Say, what's the story with that gold frame?
Oh, that bad boy? We leave all the sick merch that Bad Idea sends us each month for every customer to see.
Bad idea rule 5. Stores must prominently display each promotional material for a mandated time period.
It's rolling.
Wow, another great idea from the unruly innovators of Bad Idea.
And there you have it. And there you have it. Bad Idea's rebellious brand of badass comics is ready to rock your badass local comic shop.
Well, that's it for me, folks. Remember, the life of your dreams is only a few Bad Idea comics away. See you at the Eisner Awards. Bye!
Bye-bye. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Hey, everyone. First and foremost, hello, and thank you for being here. We, the team at Dynamite, appreciate the time, the energy, and the effort that it takes to attend this great event, and we look forward to speaking with you directly. I really wish we could see you in person, but we're glad to be here with you. Marco and the entire team worked tirelessly for this event, and we're forever grateful for their hard work. We've all had a challenging year, and we want you to know how much Dynamite appreciates you because you are the backbone of the industry. Dynamite has done many things over the last year that we hope you've taken advantage of and we hope has helped you. We've created comic returnability, huge launches, consistent sales on our bestsellers such as Vampirella, Red Sonja, The Boys, Deja Thoris, just our entire library of titles. The backlist sales promotions also included The Boys omnibuses during season 2 of the series. We've had high-profile press coverage, and we have done everything we could to support you, and we are about to tell you how we're about to do more. What this all means right now for the effort on our end and your part, it means that Dynamite's per unit sales went up 28.1%, and our dollar sales went up 29.85%, which should be translating to you. I want to thank you for the incredible increase in orders. It's been great all around, and again, I hope for you as well. Now, let's talk about the new push we're doing. So, Bink has been a huge help to many retailers. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe they may have allocated nearly $1 million to comic retailers in their time of need during COVID. When COVID first broke and retail had to shut down, none of us knew what the future was. We at Dynamite set a little bit of money aside because we wanted to make sure that our creators and our employees were paid. Fortunately, we have not gone through a second shutdown 2.0 for the industry. And everyone's worked hard. You have worked hard. Diamond has worked hard. All the publishers have worked hard. We've all been working tirelessly to make sure we stay in business, enjoy what we do, and grow the industry. So we're taking $10,000 and we have donated it to Bink because we want them to continue the hard work that they've put in, and they can only do it with donations. Hopefully, our donation of $10,000 will encourage other people to donate as well, because it's not just a pandemic that can negatively affect everyone. We're in this together, and we will work together to get out of it. The goal here is for others to donate as well. Now, talking about some of the other projects that we have, Boys Season 3 has started filming, which is honestly really exciting because it is, in my opinion, one of the best TV series on the air now. And the fact that we live in a world where binging is everything, I feel like the fact that Amazon dropped the first 3 episodes the first weekend and then an episode every week after that was a plus for us as comic readers, because it was a placement that reminded people to try The Boys, and our sales were incredible. We've all had success, and we want to thank you for your support. Just to remind some of the retailers that may not be aware of this, we kept a constant eye on our inventory to make sure the omnibuses were available to you throughout the year, and Dynamite will continue to monitor the stock levels this year for the release of The Boys Season 3, shooting now. And here's a ComicsPro announcement, because even though this is one of our best sellers, we want to help you make even more money. Next week, we will be offering The Boys omnibuses at 60% off for all 6 volumes. And this will allow you to make sure these books are in stock, and they will be in stores in time for Dear Becky, the newest trade paperback. Now, not only can your fans have the option to order the art covers, but also the photo covers to hit a more casual fan that's just been finding out. In regards to Dear Becky, the comic series was a success, and the trade is scheduled to be in stores on March 3rd. And even though this is an 8-issue series, nice and thick, we wanted this to be in a price that would allow casual fans to pick it up as well as dedicated fans so that they can buy in more easily and so that you can have higher sales and hopefully sell more of the omnibuses. So we decided to keep the price at $19.99, even though it's 176 pages. Moving to the next phase, I just wanted to share all of the attention that the boys Dear Becky got. We are proud to say that Dear Becky garnered a lot of press inside and outside the industry, with everyone from the New York Times to CBR covering it. Another one that we're really, really looking forward to. We want to continue talking about Christopher Priest's successful run leading up to issue 25 and beyond. Christopher has a 25-issue epic that he's been telling. Issue 25 will have a surprise that you will not see coming, and then we'll springboard into his next series. First and foremost, I want to thank you and everyone in the room who made Vampirella's 50th anniversary celebration such a huge hit. Not only the biggest event in Dynamite's history, but the biggest event in Vampirella's history in terms of sales. Now, one of our big announcements today, Invincible Red Sonja. This is a new series by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. What we wanted to do, we've been talking to Amanda and Jimmy for quite a bit about doing a series for us. And the door was open for whatever series they wanted to do. So we're really excited to announce this project being done by Amanda and Jimmy. They are bringing Moritat in on artwork. Amanda and Jimmy redefined Harley Quinn to create one of the best-selling DC characters. Bringing in Moritat is a great mix and complements their story as well. This first issue will be returnable. We will be sending updates via Diamond and other retailer forums. Now let's move on to James Bond, and we have the new series, Agent Inspector, written by Christos Gage and returning artist Luca Casalanguira. And boy, I'm Italian, so I hope I said that right. Bond is one of the most well-known characters in the world and one of Dynamite's most popular. The new series brings back some of Bond's most well-known villains, Spectre and Ernst Blofeld. It also brings back one of his oldest allies, Felix Leiter. The Bond 25th film has been pushed back to the fall, and we expect there to be a lot of built-up demand between now and then. Don't miss up on the opportunity to carry this series by Christos and Luca, and also some of the back-issue graphic novels that are in stock now. If for some people, Bond may give you goosebumps, Red Sonja may have given you goosebumps, but here are the art of goosebumps. So many of us, if not all, especially if you're my age or older, we grew up on the Goosebumps on R.L. Stine. This project has been a labor of love. The ability to take these covers and create an art book is a dream come true. We have other series that are waiting to be announced, other titles to be watching out for in the coming months. Barbarella, Betty Page, Sheena, Kiss, Elvira, not on the list, Army of Darkness, Reanimator, so many more. But as you can see, I'm jumping ahead to new hires. Dynamite is fortunate to have some of the most talented team members in the industry. We have people with knowledge, respect, and love for our products and industry. Today, I want to let you know about two recent hires. First and foremost, Jim Ski Sokolowski, VP Associate Publisher. Jim, or Ski to almost everyone in the industry, comes with years of experience aboard to develop alliances and products for the future. I'm psyched at the opportunity to work with the Dynamite team in continuing their momentum as one of the most unique and visionary forces in the industry. I want to do a drum roll, but it doesn't matter because when I say his name, I think everybody will be happy. We have just signed on Vince Laterio as the Director of Sales for the direct market. Vince's pedigree is well known. He is one of the best sales reps in the industry, and saying sales rep actually does not do it justice. He has worked hand in hand with retailers for decades. He's a man with 35 years experience and who knows and respects the retail community and has a deep understanding of the distribution system. Vince is one of the most respected directors in the industry and having been key in the growth of DC's business over 2 decades. I want to thank you all for your time. I know you have a lot going on and your being here is greatly appreciated. And most of all, I'm looking forward to next year seeing you in person and having a drink with you. Thank you very much. Have a great ComicsPro.
Today's comics market is ripe with new titles by creators who are determined to get their books into your hands. My name is Anri Company. For the last decade, I've been making and selling my own creator-owned comics and dealing as a collector in live sales. My signature series, Yisun Shin, is the book that cannot be defeated in battle and has over 250,000 copies in print. Now I'm taking comics to the next level and laying the groundwork for my fellow creators to get their voices heard so they can connect directly with you. This is your chance to engage live with top comic book talent and get your comics signed without having to wait in long lines or pay any fees. But remember, we only have a limited amount of their books in stock. So always remember to call it as you see